Howdy, howdy, howdy. What's going on, y'all? Today is chest and triceps. And maybe a little shoulders in there, maybe a little abs. I don't think you guys will ever see really abs much. Just because they're just crunching. But you could say the other thing, oh, you're just doing pressing movements. That's not that fun for us to watch. Whatever. But today, the plan for it is the same, kind of plan that it's always kind of been. Nothing crazy switched up. But, so recently, obviously you guys know how much I've been talking about. I don't want to keep talking about my injuries and whatnot, but I've learned for myself no more basketball until I'm completely healed up. Because my girl, my fiance, she made a great point is, I think you would rather, because my thing is, I don't want to lose my skills to basketball, because recently I've been getting back into it. I'm actually a pretty good ball player, right? But the thing is, keep getting flared up again from it. So, my girl was like, I think you would rather just much more enjoy it if you didn't get injured after doing it each and every time. And I would relearn my basketball skills just like that. And to be honest, the only reason why I want to, be good at basketball is if my coworkers are ever like, hey, man, you trying to hoop? And I just go there, I'm balling out compared to, doing horrible. Not because I care what they think, but I just want to beat them. I'm a competitive guy. So my nature is, I want to be better than you, right? That's just, obviously, it's for myself too. But in a way, it's like, I just want to be able to beat you in a one-on-one and talk trash to you afterwards. That just sounds fun. That's just, how I think about it. But today's lift is going to include pressing, flies, all the goods, But, we're just going to be getting in there, just training hard each and every day like we have been, being consistent, whatnot. So, yeah, man. I'm not going to leave you guys with much more other than that. So, we'll just get right into it. All right, so first movement of the day, we have a chest press for the middle and lower chest right here. We're going to be having our hands in the middle of the grip right here to get the most chest activation possible without straining the shoulders and without doing too much tricep. But keep your elbows in when you're doing these and train to failure, and we're going to be doing 2 sets till failure. Now we're going to be training the upper pec, middle pec, and a little bit of the front delt. And we're going to be training pretty heavy with these, making sure, we're not going too heavy to the point where, our form's going to be sloppy or anything. But the best way to do these is try to touch your elbows together rather than just hand to hand. But we're going to be training hard, heavy, and train to failure once again. And on the second set, do a drop set. Now we're going to be doing 2 sets of a lateral head tricep push down, and we're just going to be pushing hard and making sure to keep our elbows tucked in and intact, and we're just going to be trained to failure on both of these sets once again. Now we're going to be training the long head, and we're going to just be training to failure. Once again, keeping our elbows in, making sure we don't flare out at all. Train to failure for 2 sets again. And now we have 2 sets of a lateral raise, focusing on the side delt and a little bit of the front delt and a little bit of the trap. Making sure you lead with the pinky, putting the cable starting point at around your hip level, and make sure we're training to failure and hard once again. Oh, boom! Bah! What's up, guys? We're done with the workout. And we're about to go back to the crib, shower, because I was in the sauna. And stupidly enough, so there was a game of chess, right? I don't like winning like this, right? But I probably would have won on time against this guy. Like I said, not my favorite kind of way to win, but it's a win nonetheless. But I was in the sauna, and I realized I have like a 12-minute time period while I'm on my phone in the sauna. And I was like, I think it was actually like, it's probably like 14, 15 minutes. But I was so close to beating this guy because of time, like 2 minutes left, 2.5, 3 minutes left. I had the losing position. I can be honest, I played bad. I thought it like my ELO rating was way better than I thought it was going to be. Like it was like over 1,000. I thought I was going to have like 300 or something. Horrible game. But I actually was making good moves, I guess. But Yeah, just played horribly, but then I was like, okay, this guy isn't good enough to get me in checkmate, right? Like, I don't think he really knows how to get in checkmate, because the thing with me and the sauna, it was my chain. I hate this thing sometimes. I love it to death, but sauna chains suck because they burn the crap out of you. I was trying to play chess, and every time I let this thing go, just constantly nagging my chest and neck area. It was so annoying. But, you know, it is what it is. So, but we almost won that game of chess. You know, like I said, unfortunately, would have been kind of a less fun way to win, but it went nonetheless. But, you know, I lagged out, and then I was like, oh, my phone's back on, because I got out of the sauna right away because I was trying to get back into the game of chess. It made me resign. I think it just, like, shuts down your phone for a second, and then, like, you know. So that kind of pissed me off, but, you know, whatever. Not. It's my fault at the end of the day, for one, getting in that losing position. I should have just won. And then two, you know, whatever. Regardless, it is what it is. But now we're going to go back home, like I said, shower, and then get some food, and then DoorDash, and then go to work. You know, this is the point of my life where, you know, I could do multiple things, and one of those things is work really hard. You know, there's, I've had struggles recently, like after vacation, like kind of getting back into that pattern, right? It's been like 2 weeks. I'm back into it, sort of. Like, I still struggle with, like, you know, sometimes playing my video games a little too long. But the thing is, I don't even play my video games that long. I play like a couple hours at most, right? Now, that is still a while, like 2 hours looking at a screen. That's not good for me, right? Same with my phone and everything. I need to get better at those things, right? But those are things I can get better at over time. So I'm going to try my best to get better at those things. And that's just through consistency and discipline. You know, that's one great thing about the gym that it teaches you, is if you have discipline and consistency, you can do pretty much anything you want to, right? You can do pretty much anything if you have consistency and hard work. That's the beautiful part about it, that it teaches you, that I feel like you really won't learn a whole lot of other places in life. You know, that's like you'll learn that stuff through life, but through physical, you know, like physically seeing it, right, through your physique, and just, you know, the mentality and the mental health side that you get from it, it's beautiful. You know, I literally can't tell you how many pros there are to the gym. Seriously, like, a person who goes to the gym compared to not, that person, let's just say they had the same exact mental health issues, the same issues outside of life, you know, one guy hits the gym and the other guy doesn't, the guy who hits the gym is going to be mentally happier. Maybe not by 1,000%, but a good margin to where it's noticeable, right? Because I feel like if you hit the gym, you could definitely go through more mental challenges in life, you know. And I don't know exactly why humans are like this. Like, we give ourselves physical pain, and then it, you know, gives ourselves mental fortitude. I don't know how we work like that. It's really cool, I think, but it works, right? It's proven. You know, I'm saying it because I have the proof. And then two, you can just look it up, right? Humans are designed for physical activity and, you know, that kind of thing, you know, because when we were primal, all we did was run, you know, hunt, lift, and eat. You know, that's all we did. But now we have all these other short-term dopamines, you know, all this other stuff. I know I'm getting a little off topic, but in all seriousness, we had such a simple life, and now our life is so much more crazy compared to 1,000 years ago. Wow, crazy, I know, right? You know, I know primal isn't 1,000 years ago, but I'm just giving an example of how even through that 1,000 years, we've had so much more responsibilities now. But that gives us so much more freedom, and with that freedom, it also created, like I said, short-term dopamine. You know, scrolling on your phone, porn, video games, really fast food, you know, all that kind of stuff. Compared to back then, where all you had to do was hunt, supply your family with food, a shelter, water, and reproduce. That's all life was at one point, and then it turned to kind of working, and then, you know, blah blah blah. And then nowadays it's so much more, and then we get so much more overstimulated. You know, I'm definitely up there. You know, like when I play my video games, or, you know, let's say I go to my video games and then I get right off and then I go on my phone or something, that's so overstimulating. You're on a screen all day long doing whatever knows what, right? It could be, you know, even productive, right? Like you're doing, you know, something for your business. That's cool. But most of us are not doing that, right? Most of y'all are just going on your phone. And like I said, us, that's me included. And I'm not always focusing on my business, which is this, right? I'm my own brand, right? But most of us go on our phones and we just scroll on TikTok, Instagram, just the most useless shit ever, you know? That's the bad thing about, you know, nowadays is they've created a society where we're consumers. There's no producers anymore. I mean, obviously there is. I'm producing right now, but it's, you know, it's YouTube, right? And I'm not saying that's not important, but, you know, I'm giving you guys that consumerism, you know, which, like I said, is what I'm trying to preach not to do. And I'm not saying don't watch my videos, because then, you know, how am I going to make this a living, right? Because that's what I genuinely want to do in my life. I want to make this something I can do every day so I can motivate you guys. But I mean more like the brain rot stuff and all that. Like, our brains are so much just worse in general. And like, I remember, and I get annoyed by this sometimes when I have to work with people or be around people who are just constantly brain rotted. Like, I think those people are funny sometimes, but then, you know, they overdo it. Like the people who are just pure brain rot, like the Tung 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 Sahara, and, you know, I get overstimulated, dude. I can say that. And when I have to be around those people, that's a literal overstimulation right there. That's like a cocoa melon in a person. You know, I think that's what really they're trying to push, is just people turning like cocoa melon things. I don't even know, dude. You know, and that's the worst part about all this, you know, is I don't mean to rant about all this, because this should just be about the gym, right? But the gym gives us layers of satisfaction, you know, productivity, efficiency, all that, right? And that goes with mental health, and that goes with what I'm talking about right now. So just do yourself a favor. Once in a while, go to your living room, go outside, sit in silence for 5 to 10 minutes, just once a week. You know, I know that's not a whole lot, right? You may be saying, what's 5 to 10 minutes a week gonna do for me? Trust me, you don't even have to think about anything. You don't got to think about, you know, life. You can, right? If you want to drift off into your own thoughts, that's probably good for you too, because a lot of people probably don't do that. They don't have a conscious thought. It's really crazy how nobody goes in depth with their thoughts anymore. But what I'm talking about is just sit there in silence, right? Because a lot of people, and like I said, including myself, I need to do this too more. Just sit in silence. Like this. There's nothing going on around me. There's no noise. There's no activity. There's nothing that my brain could be like, okay, dopamine, dopamine. There's nothing like that. So when you regulate yourself to become more, I'm trying to think of the words for it, but I really can't, you know, just, I think you'll become a much happier person if you just really just relax for a second. That's really all I wanted to say. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe for more. You know, I'm going to produce these every day I work out, so you guys will see one tomorrow. I might take a rest day tomorrow. I'll see what my schedule entails of, because I got to go to my grandparents' house and stuff. So I'll see. It was either tomorrow or Friday. Yeah, Friday. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.